E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna and producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Ginwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Jim, today we are talking about pets we love. And in specific, since we've just gone through the anniversary of 9/11, we're going to be touching base on the heroic animals who helped in 9/11.
Yes, ma'am, we certainly are. And I tell you, folks, when it comes to our animals, we love them. And we're going to have on this show every Thursday, Pets We Love. It's going to be a series for every Thursday through the end of the year. And this is, this is our 6th season. We're very excited about kicking it off because on Mondays, ladies and gentlemen, during our new fall schedule, we're going to be talking about making a difference in business. And so for the business, the entrepreneurs and people like that want good content there, please join us. And Tuesday is going to be Finding Health Naturally. We're going to be covering a wide range of things there about herbs and natural cures and things of that nature. Wednesdays is Youth Making a Difference, and that's going to be
future.
Our future. Now, it's going to be kind of like two-sided there a little bit. We're going to be talking about young entrepreneurs. We're also going to be talking about mentors who help youth develop and create a path for themselves. Right. And of course, Thursdays, Pets We Love. What's our topic on Friday? Let's see here. Let me take a while. I think Donna could help me out on that one there.
Donna's a little tired in the new fall schedule, but it is Women in Leadership.
Yes, it is. So every single day, we'll have a specific program with our new fall schedule that will run through the end of the year. So be sure and share that with others that may be interested in a particular topic. And we really would appreciate it. And Donna, I'll tell you right now, when it comes to kicking off a show, I really enjoy looking at what day it is, what's the national day.
I do too. It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is really, really fun. You want to take the first one, Jim?
I'll take it. And I asked Donna because I have never had this, ladies and gentlemen.
I haven't either.
Butterscotch Cinnamon Pie Day. And it says, delight yourself by indulging in a slice or two of butterscotch cinnamon pie. I've never had that. And when I mentioned to Donna, she hadn't either. And she says, it sounds a little rich to me,
Yeah,
but
I don't think I could eat that. I think it's too rich for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you know what? I think I'd give it a try just to,
Well, I would take a bite, but that would maybe be it.
That'd give you a sugar fix high, huh?
It would. Well, this next one is one of my favorites, has been since, I can remember, is National Grilled Cheese Toast Day. I love a good grilled cheese sandwich. In fact, I was just telling Jim last night, we had soup and grilled cheese sandwich for dinner. And it was amazing.
I have to cut back on my cheese a little bit, but every now and then I'll fudge some, ladies and gentlemen. I remember one of my favorites is grilled cheese with tomato soup.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
That's a cat's meow right there.
Yeah.
And grilled cheese with tomato soup with a little basil in there is amazing.
Can we take a break now? We'll be back in half an hour.
Right. We're going to go have some tomato soup with basil in it.
Come on. We'll just add more water to the soup. That's what we used to do when we used to have company or something. Add a little more water to the stew, no big deal.
Right.
And today is also, and I've had these, I've loved these for many, many years. In fact, I've told people one of my favorite meals when I was younger was a cheeseburger but today is National Double Cheeseburger Day. Mm,
Good stuff.
mm, mm.
I prefer mine with bacon,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Because you can't go wrong with bacon.
No, 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 no. You sure certainly can't. And I want to mention too, very quickly, for you catch the next one there. This is the National Online Learning Day.
Hmm.
And it's a wonderful thing because yesterday, on yesterday's show, I covered about a young lady who she was 12 years of age. Daisy, I'm trying to remember her name off the top of my head, but she back when the pandemic first shut down, a lot of the students did not have laptops or computers or anything like that to be able to attend the online courses. And she heard the story about this young lady, this young kid, about 9 or 10. And because she could not attend the online classes that they were putting on, because they had to shift from the physical to the virtual due to the pandemic, as we all know and understand, she was getting marked absence, and it was going to be reported to Child Protective Services, like her parents
Oh my gosh.
were denying her access to education when they just didn't have it. They didn't have the Wi-Fi and all that. So she started a nonprofit, and it's in yesterday's show, so be sure and check it out.
Oh,
She started a nonprofit, and the very first person or nonprofit was to get computers and things like that. And the very first person to receive one was this young girl.
oh, how beautiful.
Yeah, and she's only 12 years of age, and that's the beauty in kids because
Right?
they have a creative mindset, and that's why we need to encourage them and help them any way we can. And that's why mentors are very, very important in young people because I think
Absolutely.
I had several mentors in my life growing
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Sure
Yeah.
did.
And I think one of the other things, if I could just touch base on
Sure.
children entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
that I find absolutely fascinating is, quite frankly, the world hasn't scarred them yet.
Oh, yeah.
And so they become a little bit more single focused,
Hmm.
right? They don't let all the crap that we have as we get
Nonsense.
older, right? All the just the junk get in the way. They're just like, this is going to work. I don't know how, but it's going to work. And I think in that aspect, Jim,
Mhm.
that we as adults can take a good lesson in that.
Yes, we can because their minds have not been tainted with
Nope.
nonsense and doubt and fear and worry and all that stuff. They're focused on the end result and how to bless others. And Donna, yesterday, I want to mention this. It was a little 9-year-old girl that we covered. And forgive me, folks, for not remembering the name, but I mean, I'm just going off of, what her story. Her and her dad, they had rushed to the supermarket, and their mission was to. This is during in February, I think it was, or March, early on in 2020, with the pandemic just coming down, the first lockdown. Their focus was get in there, let's get some food, let's get out of there, let's get home, and let's be safe. And she saw an elderly lady there with a bunch of bags struggling, and she told her dad. So her and her dad went over and helped the lady with her bags, a total stranger now. Remember, back during the pandemic, we were scared to death. If you were in a supermarket somewhere and someone sneezed in the aisle, you'd probably take off. And they helped this elderly lady with her bags, put it in her vehicle, and she was so impressed by the response of the older lady. She started, it's not even a nonprofit, it's just an organization, and they have over 6,000 volunteers where elderly people who, for whatever reason, cannot get out and get groceries, they help them. They
Oh, how
go and,
beautiful.
yeah, they're the Uber without the charge, you might say.
Right, right.
And it's a wonderful thing. So that's why we're so privileged and honored to recognize the youth making a difference on every Wednesday.
And they're everywhere, all
Yes.
over the world, folks.
Yes,
It's a
ma'am.
beautiful thing.
Mhm.
Well, the last one we're going to cover today for our National Day is National Pawpaw Day. And this is a fruit, and it tastes like a
Hmm.
cross between a mango and a banana and sometimes other fruits.
Hmm.
So, I know that some of the more exotic fruits are a little harder to find in the regular
Yeah.
groceries, but places like Trader Joe's or Sprouts would probably have something like that. And those are pretty
Mm.
much, you know,
Maybe
across the
Whole
country.
Foods or
Yeah,
yeah.
Whole Foods, something
Mhm.
like that.
I've heard of pawpaw
I
fruit, but
have two.
I've never tried it. I've never tried it. So
Yeah,
I've
well, if I see it, I'm buying
yeah,
it.
that'll go on my bucket list of things I need to eat before I die.
That's right. That's right. I love it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, as you see there, this is episode 4 of our 6th season, and Pets We Love. And we wanted to pay, Donna brought to my attention, and she says, let's play tribute to the dogs who were heroes during 911. And nine,
Absolutely.
it's everybody remembers where they're at when they heard
Oh,
that.
don't we?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I was when I did a little research on this, Jim.
Mhm.
I knew uh, I knew that there was lots and lots of dogs who helped with this,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I have to be honest. I did not realize it was estimated. Now you got to remember when 9/11 hit, folks. It turned us upside down
Mhm.
in literally a New York minute, right?
Mhm.
And it was estimated that 300 dogs assisted in the search and rescue efforts after the attacks,
Mm.
and that's according to the 9/11 Memorial Museum of the American Kennel Club.
Mm.
Many working dogs spent hours alongside their handlers, sniffing through rubble in hopes of finding survivors.
Mm.
Oh, 300, maybe more.
Oh, yeah. And, Donna, when it comes to dogs helping in rescue efforts, they are so valuable and they have saved a lot of lives. When people get lost or reported
Hmm.
lost out in the boonies or out in some park or something like that, a national
Right.
park, dogs are very, very beneficial. Bloodhounds have been known for their ability for, hundreds of years to be able to track uh, the scent of someone. Normally, you think of bloodhounds, you normally think of them trying to find someone left the scene of a crime or something. But bloodhounds have been known for finding lost children.
Hmm.
All they got to do is sniff their smell, and they're gone.
Well,
And
and it's important to understand that when these dogs are trained, they're
mhm.
trained in different areas. So
Mm,
you can't have a dog who is trained to find living people and cadavers.
yes.
Okay, so people who have already died, they are trained a certain way, and the
Mhm.
dogs who are trained to find a living person who is lost are trained a certain way.
Yes.
Um, it's apparently, and I don't know a whole lot about how they're trained, but I
Mhm.
do know it is different training altogether.
Oh, yeah. And you think about dogs, and I'm going to have you talk a little bit about Jake in a minute.
Hmm.
Um, her beloved little bitty teacup puppy.
Yeah, he's a teacup size, all right.
Yeah. The only teacup about that boy is his eye, one of
Right.
his eyes. But, it's really amazing how some dogs can be trained to recognize when their owners are having an attack,
Hmm.
or like we've had the people on TV, that have dogs that are service dogs that help
Right.
people with PTSD,
Right.
and they're trained to recognize that. And was Jake ever trained to recognize? Just go ahead and share that story if you would, please.
No, that was what's so strange. So Jake is a herder, right? He's a guardian. He's a Great Pyrenees, and it's instinctive in him. I've watched him do it countless times. And gosh, this was like 9 years ago, Jim, when I got really sick, and and I didn't know at the time what it was, but now I do going forward. It's a seizure, but not a regular grand mal seizure. So it's a seizure that gets associated with my MS,
Hmm.
right? And it's very strange, and it's very painful. Like if you touch my leg, it feels like when I'm in that having a seizure, it feels like you put a red hot poker on my leg. It burns. All
Mm.
the nerves are on fire. And it was so funny because in retrospect, he would come to me and he would lay his head, or he'd just get really close to me and the big brown eyes and stare at me, right? And I'm like, what the heck is he doing? Well,
Hmm.
after the third time of doing it, I finally got it. You know, I'm a little slow on the uptake. He knew right away. He was sensing in me a change that was coming, and that change was having that seizure.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
because he just, you know, he's my dog. He
Hmm.
follows, even if he doesn't leave the family room, he knows where I'm at all times. You know, I can get up and move, and I look over and his eyes are over here or they're over here. You know, I wherever I go, he knows where I'm at all
Hmm.
times. So it is really interesting. Not only are dogs trained for it, but understanding that our own individual dogs who are not trained, but we're in tune to each other, have
Mm.
that ability
Hmm.
to understand that they can feel a difference coming in your body.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really amazing because that is one of the gifts that dogs have because they are so, especially family dogs, are so family oriented. You are
Right,
their world. Their family is their world. And they love their world. They love their family and they don't want anything, just like we don't want anything to upset our lives or our
right.
family's lives, you know. And we've got our email address on there, inspiration at e360tv.com. So if you have an interesting story about your pet and you'd like for us to share that, please email us. And if you do have a special, a very good quality video, just send us the link and we'll take a look at it. And, hopefully we can get it uploaded and
Absolutely.
play it on TV because this show is all about the pets that we love. And we're not talking about just dogs and cats because I know people that have reptiles as pets. I never did get into that, but I understand and respect that.
Right.
And, you know, um, we had, I used to see these fish in a tank called a big fish tank called an Oscar.
Hmm.
And they're a big fish. And
Yes, they are.
I never thought much about them. But one guy, he had several of them. He says, yeah, he says, Jim, they got a heck of a personality. And I said, really? So one day back in the 80s, we bought an Oscar and put him in a tank. And my son James, we were watching him grow, and we could tell he had a personality. He was different than a goldfish or something like that, or any other fish you may have in an aquarium. But James was holding up a little piece of fish food, a little flake, and holding it above the water and teasing him. The fish jumped with its mouth open and grabbed that out of his finger. And it kind of shocked him a little bit, but we all got the giggles about it.
Right.
But, it's just fun things like that because animals bring us so much love and so much joy. We could all
They
take
do.
a lesson from animals as far as love and forgiveness. And,
Well, and the unconditional aspect of love,
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
right? You know,
Oh, yeah.
we have a tendency as humans to put oftentimes put conditions on
Mm.
love,
Oh, yeah.
or your imperfections, if you will.
Mm.
And none of us are perfect, and true love
Hmm.
and the deep meaningful love is
Mm.
understanding that people are going to have bad days. They're going to have a few habits you may not like, but you know
Hmm.
what, in the scale of everything, it's so small it doesn't matter.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's
It's
unconditional love.
it's also very amazing, ladies and gentlemen, how each pet demonstrates their own individual personality, their traits.
Oh,
Oh man,
isn't that the truth?
yeah. And we sit around, we talk about pets that we've had and all that. And so you remember when we had a Siamese cat named Alvin? He did not get cheated anywhere on his personality. I mean, he was a character and all the funny little things he'd do. And we sit around and we reminisce about those because those are precious memories to us.
Right.
And the good news of it is that we will see Paul Prince in heaven because all of our beloved pets, yes, they do go to heaven. There's no
Mhm.
question about that. We don't need to worry about them. We need to worry about ourselves.
Absolutely.
I mean, pets are
Absolutely.
smart. We're not. Oh,
So,
maybe I
Jim,
shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
getting into the 9/11 of
Mhm.
this. You
Yes.
know, this article I have here in front of me was the historic stories of rescue dogs and their lasting impact 20
Mm.
years later. So this is out of Nashville, Tennessee. And
Hmm.
it says, after we reflect 20 years after America was attacked on September 11th, they were honoring the four-legged heroes who worked tirelessly at Ground Zero for in the days that followed. As I said earlier, it was an estimated 300 dogs assisted in search and rescue efforts after the attacks. So many of the working dogs spent hours alongside
Mm.
their handlers, sniffing through rubble in hopes of finding survivors.
Mm.
Reports suggest most of the dogs only sustained minor injuries during their efforts, mainly cuts and scrapes to their pads, to their
Hmm.
little paw pads. But the most worrisome problem for the pups wasn't their cuts and scrapes. It was the draining task of not finding anyone alive, which
Mm.
became taxing on the dogs, both
Mm.
physically and emotionally.
Mm.
To boost their spirits and confidence, the canine handlers would perform mock finds so the dogs could feel successful
Mm.
because they are so smart and so emotionally in tune to what they're trained for. It was really throwing them off balance, right? So that's why they did the mock finds.
Mm.
When they train, they don't search for hours without finding anybody. Dr. Cynthia Otto said in a recent interview with the New York Times. You need to remind the dogs every so often that they get a win,
Oh my goodness. Let's just
right?
stop right there because how important it is for us to get a win every now and then.
Absolutely. It
And
is so important and to
yeah.
feel good about what it is we do.
Oh yeah. And Donna, I tell people, from time to time, especially when I speak, don't forget to treat yourself with a little win. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter what it is, but it's very, very important for you to treat yourself. And that's how handlers train dogs when they do what they want. They give them a little treat. It's a reward system.
Right.
And that is beautiful because that article you're talking about, I believe Dr. Otto, is she the director of, I'm trying to think of the name of what was
Penn
it?
Vet Working Dog Center in Philadelphia.
Thank you. Thank you. And she was that was one of the places that where they were in charge of the dogs
Mhm.
or looked after the dogs at Ground
Yes, they
Zero.
did.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about Tracker. You said something
Oh,
about Tracker. Yeah, let's hear
yeah.
about Tracker, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, he's a retired German Shepherd police dog named Tracker is credited with one survivor rescue. Tracker has been named one of the history's most historic animals by Time magazine,
Mm,
right? Now, here's the one that just, it gets me.
okay.
Golden Retriever, if I can pronounce how they did her name, Bredigon, was the last known surviving dog to be employed by FEMA at Ground Zero before her death in 2016. She also responded to Hurricane Katrina in 2005. A cobblestone has been dedicated to her and her partner, Captain Dennis Corliss, at one of the 9/11 memorial fountains in New York City.
Mm,
So she was really instrumental um,
mm.
in 9/11, and other dogs like Salty and Roselle have been honored over the years.
Oh,
Salty and
yeah.
Roselle were the only two service dogs inside the World Trade Center with their owners on 9/11. Both were able to lead their owners out of the burning buildings before they
Mm,
collapsed.
wow. Donna, that's very amazing because there was a lot of people that didn't need any type of support dog or anything like
Right,
that, and they couldn't find their way out. Bless
right,
their heart.
right.
And for these dogs to be able to say, "Come on, I'm taking you to safety."
Well,
I
and
mean,
think about the
wow.
training, Jim, that goes into it because, here we are humans. right? We have an incredible brain,
Hmm.
and then you have dogs, and we get confused. We get our balance gets out of whack, if you will,
Hmm.
right? So right from left, up from down, all the smoke, and yet a dog can come in and find the way. Think
Yes.
about that.
Mm. That's truly amazing. It really is
Mhm.
because dogs fully understand what the mission is. They really do. And
Well, and their
they,
sense of direction, though, that's what
yeah.
gets me.
Hmm.
Holy moly, their sense of direction is amazing.
Hmm. Yeah. And they step up to the plate.
Yeah,
That's what, we all should do in our hour of need and for other people's hour of need is to step up to the plate and be there for them because dogs demonstrate very, very clearly what's really important in life, including
right.
our life, such as love and support and being there for you in your hour of need. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. Not
Yep.
to mention the love that the unconditional love that they give and the fun that they provide and their characters too. My goodness gracious, their characters.
Well, it's funny. I tell this story when my husband and I first got together. We had a get together with his kids at the house, and
Mhm.
Jake, our grandson, was only 2 at the time. And so there was Jeff who was going around the pool, and Jake was following him like nobody's business. And Edgy was getting a little concerned, kept calling Jake away. And I said, leave him alone. And he said, why? I said, watch him. Look what he's doing. Well, here's Jeff, who's full of as much, you know, vigor as you can imagine. And he was going by the edge of the pool, and Jake would just go right in front of him and cut him off.
Mm.
So he was on the other side of the pool. And I looked at Edgy. He said, Edge looks at me and he says, well, I'll be damned. He's hurting him. I said, yeah, that's his
Hmm.
job. He's guarding
Yeah.
him. He's
Yeah.
guarding him. So,
Hmm.
these dogs are incredible, whether they're
Yes.
family dogs or they're trained. Every
Hmm.
dog is incredible, and has a special gift,
Hmm.
just like we people do.
Yeah. And Jake wasn't trained to do that. He has saw a need and he responded.
Hmm. It's well, and it's in his lineage. To be honest with you, it's
Hmm.
in his lineage. I've seen him do it other times. Back when I lived in Ohio, I was watching my neighbor's dog, and I was out back mowing the lawn, and her dog hated the lawnmowers, and she kept going up to the wheel while I'm mowing, trying to bite it. And I'm like, she's
Hmm.
going to get hurt, right?
Hmm.
Because she was getting right up on the lawnmower. And I looked at Jake and I started to mow, and I said, Jake, get her. Just like that. I'd never trained him. I didn't know. But instinctively, I just said, Jake, get her. And he
Hmm.
went and pushed her away from the lawnmower so I could mow the lawn.
Mm. Amazing.
Yeah.
Simply amazing. And people, we all know that animals understand us when we talk, when we
Oh,
speak to them. They
absolutely.
really do, because animals know their name
Hmm.
and animals know certain words and phrases mean certain things, like in the morning. Dixie, she didn't let me forget our little, she's a little kitty. She lets me know it's treat time in the morning.
Yeah. She's got your number, buddy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. She'll take the slack out of my chain on that deal.
Hmm.
But in doing so, Evie and I, we sit down after we have you get up in the morning, we do our thing, exercise or whatever, and then we sit down and we enjoy our coffee. And so when Dixie's wanting their treat, and I just simply say it's cookie and coffee time, because sometimes we'll have a little English biscuit with our coffee. And Bella is our grand puppy that's living with us. And it didn't take her long to,
Biscuit?
cookie and coffee time means I'm going to get a treat too. That's right, girl.
Nice.
And I didn't have to tell her that she's going to get a treat. She figured that out on her own. So I say
Right.
cookie and coffee time, ears perk up. They know what's coming.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jim, you want to take this one portion about the therapy dogs for 9/11?
Oh, yes.
That
Yes.
that is an amazing, touching part of this
Yeah.
story.
Are you talking one about Salty and Roselle?
No, under
Mm.
that, the therapy dogs played the huge role in the terror attacks.
Oh, okay. Let me find that right quick. And let's see here. Salty and Roselle, Addicting Metal. Okay, let's see here. The one that I have up here, Donna, that I was going to talk about was the dog that was burned very badly,
Oh,
and is now in a training to be a therapy dog at a burn center. And this is a Japanese breed, the Shiniba Inu, and it was badly burned in a Georgia house fire. And now they're training the dog to be a therapy dog at a local burn center. And Crystal Leslie was the veterinarian taking care of the dog named Taka, T A K A, and ended up actually adopting him. And she
oh,
told the WRDW News that when she first took him in, Taka consistently instigated fights with other dogs. And I'm familiar with this Japanese breed. Michaela has one, and they're kind of like a coyote. They got a mind of their own. They're neat looking dogs, but they're very, very independent and strong headed.
mm-hmm.
And she was worried at first because she thought may have to give him up. And then someone suggested she get him trained. And she wondered if at 9 years old he was too old to be trained. And it turned out to be more than possible, just requiring a little extra patience and time. He got the right temperament for it, she told
Mm-hmm.
him. She told his trainer. And of course, he had scars to show for it. So
Right,
he could actually automatically relate to people there who were who were burn victims, and both of them are going to benefit both him and the patients.
right.
But one of the things I find great, one of the things that I don't think any of us like is that when we see animals, dogs in shelters, and we kind of like look at them and they're not really, some dogs we kind of know are not high on the adoption list. Well, putting dogs to sleep, my goodness gracious, it has really went down, and I'm happy to report this. In 2012, 83% of the dogs that were euthanized and put to sleep, that has went from 83% down to 31% today. And that is good news because in 1971, Los Angeles animal shelters, they killed more than 110,000 animals, or 300 per day on average. Can you
Mm-hmm.
imagine
Well, I
that? Mm.
do know that there's several sites I follow,
Hmm.
being an avid animal lover, both with cats and dogs. And we
Hmm.
have a huge problem right now where it kind of seems like after the pandemic, during the pandemic, it was, I think most people know that it was the biggest time of adoption of pets
Hmm.
in recent
Yes.
history,
Hmm.
both, cats and dogs. And there is a unbelievable amount of dogs being dumped everywhere
Mm. Oh.
because people now are going back to work and they're like, and it's something I don't understand.
Hmm.
And it literally breaks my heart. I
Hmm.
mean, people just
Mine too.
dumping dogs at the side of the road, people dumping
Hmm.
cats, and the problem now is we have, at least on these sites that I follow, Jim, is the local animal shelters, et cetera, are up to there's no more room. They're
Mm.
absolutely at maximum capacity.
Yes. And they're saying one of the reasons why the pet being put to sleep has dropped so much is because there's been an increase in spaying the animals and neutering the animals. And at least if you're going to have a pet and you're not a breeder or anything like that, I'm talking about a professional breeder. I mean, you got
Right.
papers and stuff like that. You're not just a puppy mill house or something like that. Or because say what you want to. Um, a male dog that's not neutered, he can smell a female in heat a long ways off, and they
Yep.
go. They go, and their mission is just to mate with that dog.
Right.
And you may not have. we had Lobo, a blue heeler, and Lobo was not fixed. And we got him when he was 2 years old. He lived out in the country and all. And one day I got to look at him. Where'd he go? Because he didn't run off, and I had to go searching for him. I found him up there. In fact, the neighbor about it's about a mile away, really, called me and says, "I think your dog's up here." And I said, "Let me come because he's missing." And the reason why, he had a little female pup up there that was in heat.
Mm-hmm.
And I says, I'm going to keep him under, not lock and key, but I said lock and key, keep him, very contained, either on a leash
Right.
when I take him out or in the house, whatever. I said, let me know when the season is over with her.
Right.
And, but yeah, I mean, they take off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how unwanted animals get, litters get created and stuff like that. And so because of the neutering, that's actually lowered that rate there. But it's really wonderful, because when I read the story about this 9-year-old Shiba Inu Japanese breed dog, I know they're very independent, got a mind of their own. And for him to be 9 years of age, even though he was burned in a house fire, he was able to relate to other people in burn victims. And you think about the comfort. We've covered this before, how dogs can actually be such a blessing to people. We've talked several times, Don, about people that would maybe have a little smaller dog that they could, work with the people, the officials there in retirement homes and stuff, and make a plan where they could come in once a week and let the dog visit with the people who are in there, because they don't have anything.
Right.
It's a win-win situation. And I love stuff like that. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And Donna, also in this story here, it talks about a Florida hospital officially has a dog on staff to help sniff out COVID-19. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That's, you want to share that with them? Yeah.
Absolutely. 3 days a week, Buffy, the yellow Labrador retriever, greets visitors to detect COVID-19 on those entering the doctor's hospital of Sarasota. Mm-hmm. If granted permission, Buffy sniffs a visitor's feet, seeking a whiff of an active COVID-19 infection. Very few people decline the offer when they see the yellow Labrador retriever with a wagging tail, the Tampa Bay Times reported. People generally don't love going to the hospital, CEO Robert Mead told the publication, but who doesn't love labs? Buffy was trained by Palomino-based Southeastern Guide Dogs as part of a 4-dog pilot program for scent detection. The group has trained service animals for years and provided them for free to disabled veterans and people with vision loss. Scent detection, however, was a new territory. Small and early studies on dogs trained to detect COVID-19 in Europe, though still unproven, showed promise. So Southeastern decided to give it a shot. Training dogs to detect the virus requires actual virus samples. The hospital collected saliva samples from patients with active COVID-19 infections, and those samples were then inactivated, a process rendering them non-infectious for safe and safer research. So after only 3 months of training, Buffy was at a 95% accurate rate of detecting virus samples. That result is safer hospitals and a much more comfortable experience for getting tested.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
It really is. And, in this story too, ladies and gentlemen, we hear about pet detective. Well, there is a lady, she's a pet detective that reunites missing animals with their owners. Can you imagine, Donna, how it feels when someone loses their beloved pet and a pet detective or anybody finds the dog, returns it? Her name is Bonnie McCrea Hale. She's licensed in the state of Texas as a private investigator, but she specializes in finding lost pets. She often works in the Dallas-Fort Worth area along with her trained search dogs, Isabel, Cayo, and Buck. though she handles calls in other cities, including Houston, Austin, Oklahoma City, and even Baton Rouge. But a missing dog years ago got her into the pet detective business. A couple visiting out of town had their car stolen along with their dog. So the couple offered a $5,000 reward, and she called in to offer her help. And she organized a group of volunteers to help find the animal. And after the couple hired someone to bring in a tracking dog for the search, the pet detective bug hit her. She was intrigued. And Donna, she says, I was running along with the tracking dog, doing a little math in my head of how much the investigator made versus how much I made. And she looked like she was having a lot more fun with her dog. And she says, I thought, I'm going to try this. I'm going to figure out how you can learn how to do this. And Donna, I don't know if you have the article in front of you, but she's been in business for 15 years, hasn't she?
Yes, she has.
Yeah.
She has. That is amazing.
Yeah. And it says her cases are evenly split between dogs and cats.
Right.
And
but it also says that they find so many more cats than they do dogs.
Yes. And she works weekends and even in nearly every holiday. And the job can be emotionally difficult when a pet doesn't turn up or is found dead.
Yeah,
but sharing the joy of reuniting pets and their owners, she says, is nothing short of spectacular. Oh,
right.
My goodness. We all love videos of seeing, pets being returned to their owners, and I love the videos of dogs when their owners come back that's been gone for a long time, like soldiers overseas, and the dogs just go bananas. Oh my goodness gracious.
Well, this next story, Jim, is really something, and I have to tip my hat to the North Dakota brewery who puts shelter dogs on its cans so it can help them get adopted. Now that is beautiful. So this brewery in North Dakota is bringing together dogs and beer for a good cause. Fargo Brewing Company partnered with the nonprofit for Love of Dog to help sheltered dogs find a forever home. The hope is that the beer drinkers will see a dog they like and come visit the shelter. Our wonder dogs are dogs that will live their best life in a home. For Love of Dog volunteer Jared Ryan told Fargo-based news organization. They can be a little bit tougher to find homes for, foster homes and that type of thing. So we're featuring these dogs on a can and bringing them here so the public can meet them. Now, how beautiful is that? You talk about, all right, now let's just flip this for a moment. For entrepreneurs, now that is amazing advertising.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yes, it is. The paw on the can.
Yes, ma'am, they did. And you entrepreneurs out there, think about what you can do. Yeah, I mean, just take as the old saying goes, rip the scalp open and let the thoughts bubble out there. I just looked up fargobrewing.com. And they have a pale ale. They've got a lager, Lager. They've got a Scottish ale and an IPA. I don't know what an IPA, wood chipper IPA. I don't know what.
Yeah. It's good.
It's good. Yeah, Donna's our beer connoisseur here on the show. I'm just teasing you a little bit there, Donna. But really, for them to put out I think Donna just must have lost her signal. But anyway, for them to put, local dogs and I guess dogs anywhere that's been that are in shelters and to get them familiar with, people that are, maybe looking for a pet. It's a great, great thing. And you entrepreneurs out there, you could do the same thing, even with a little story with a photograph. Oh my goodness gracious. That's amazing. It
I,
really is.
and
And
excuse me, I just need to apologize for whatever reason, folks. My internet is going crazy today, so
mhm,
that's why I've been jumping off. It has booted me out, and I keep coming back into the studio.
mhm. That's okay. I thought it was maybe something I said there, especially when I was just getting to the point about she's our beer connoisseur here. And maybe she
Oh,
took off. Oh, yeah, I hadn't had one today, you know. But it's really a wonderful thing, you know. And when you talk about that, oh my goodness gracious, that because people love dogs, and you could just put out a little picture of a dog, a little story about it, get with your local animal shelter, and
or the
just, you know,
cats, or find out
yeah,
what their need is the
yeah,
most.
yes, yes, yes.
Or maybe
Hmm.
you could do cats for X amount of time, dogs for another amount of time,
Hmm. Yeah.
because that way you're splitting it up. And
Hmm.
as an entrepreneur, you're
Hmm.
hitting the demographics for people who love dogs, and you're hitting the
Yeah.
demographics for people
Hmm.
who love cats.
And let's be honest, animal lovers are the demographics that you want to attract in general. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to
Yeah.
leave it right there. Donna, I want to cover one more story real
Yes,
quickly.
please.
That's that comfort dog was sworn in to help victims of
Yes,
sexual assault and violence. Oh my goodness. Would you be kind enough to take the lead on that
I
there?
will. I will.
Okay.
This was quite something.
Mm.
So, attorney's office in Chicago swore in an unexpected new hire, a black lab named Hattie. 2-year-old Hattie was sworn in to the state attorney's office as its office's first facility comfort dog to assist her human coworkers on 150 to 200 cases per year.
Mm.
Hattie was trained by inmates at a prison in southwest Illinois. Hattie stood on her hind legs and placed her paw on a law book as the oath was administered to swear her in. As a
Wow.
member of the Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence Unit, Hattie's job will be to comfort child victims as they navigate the criminal justice system.
Mm.
A trauma informed approach begins with understanding the physical, social, and emotional impact of trauma on the individual. We are proud to have a resource like Hattie to provide a source of comfort and I'm sure love
Hmm.
for victims as they navigate this difficult process.
Hmm. You know, Donna, during the show today, we've covered a lot of different animals, their stories, and we really give tribute to the heroes, the four-legged fur heroes of 9/11, because
Absolutely.
everybody was alive then that was old enough to know what 9/11 happened or what happened on that day. You know exactly where you were,
Hmm.
and it just brands in your brain. It's kind of like those of us we remember where we were when Elvis died, and different events like that just get branded into your memory. And
Absolutely. They're etched in there for eternity.
mhm, yeah,
Hmm.
it's just the same thing as a song you hear on the radio can
Right.
drift you back into memory lanes, into better, not better times, but good times, fun times, and bring back good memories. And these dogs and these pets that we have here in our lives, they are very, very important. And again, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our email address up there, the inspiration at E360 TV. There it is. And email us stories about your beloved pets.
Or a
And
video clip.
yes, make sure it's good quality because we can download it and we can play it on the show. We would be honored to do that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and this is not a sales presentation or
No.
anything like that. So this is about infotainment. Well, that's what our show's about. That's why it's grown so much, Donna.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And and Donna, I tell you right now, the people out there in TV land who have blessed us and made us one of the top shows on E360 TV, to look into the camera and say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Yeah, I
Hmm.
just feel like it's just so inadequate for me personally.
It doesn't really cover how Jim and I feel
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
producers, as partners.
Hmm.
Um, we've put our heart and soul into this show,
Mm. Oh, yeah.
right? We've put blood, sweat, and tears, if you will,
Hmm.
numerous phone calls, numerous masterminds. I mean, more than we can count
Hmm. Yeah.
between all our fingers and toes put together. And
And
so it really,
not to mention the 5,000 wrinkles we've ironed out of your
right,
life.
right. But it truly doesn't emotionally say what we want to
Yeah,
say and how we
exactly.
feel. Because
Exactly.
it's easy to say thank you, but honestly,
Hmm.
we cannot tell you folks what it means to us on a personal level
Hmm.
that we have connected with you, that there
Hmm.
is something that is an emotional connection
Hmm.
that attracts you to the information that we provide and
Yes.
how we provide it.
Yes. Very well said, Donna. And we're going to close by mentioning our topics for the fall schedule. Making a difference in business. If you're a business entrepreneur and we're talking about making a difference in your life and other people's lives, your family's lives, and how do you give back to the community and things that you can help help others in their hour of need. That's what the Mondays are basically about in a nutshell.
Right. And
And
Tuesdays are finding health naturally.
yes,
So
yes,
there's,
yes.
there's a lot of things. I mean, modern day medicine is a miracle, but there is also a
Hmm.
lot of things that we can do naturally
Hmm.
that will help us and benefit us too. And
Yeah.
so those are the things that we just want to talk about, different ways that that have been put in articles or that people have. We may
Hmm.
have guests from time to time
Hmm.
who have done such things. So this is just about being healthy to the best that we can be.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely correct. And the other day we had Dr. William Clearfield and Joel Peterson, who has been with him for almost 8 years. I just found out that through them that the VA now recognizes the importance of acupuncture and chiropractic. Because back in the 70s when I was in and had a pinched nerve in my neck. I mean, you mentioned, going to the chiropractor and they look at you like you're going to go put
Right.
chicken bones around your neck. Or, I mean,
I
it was
go
just
I go
way
once a
back in,
month.
yeah, it was just way back in the boonies. So that's what
Mhm.
we're talking about there. Wednesday, of course, if you are a young entrepreneur, we'd love to hear your story. Again, if you got a great video there, we'd be glad to play it on that day. Or
Mhm.
if you are a mentor and you make a difference in young people's lives, we want to hear from you. And of course,
Absolutely.
Thursday we've already covered pets we love, and Fridays, of course, women in leadership. Because most of our demographics, we're about 66%, I think, ladies that watch us, and so we want to give the ladies out there, women in leadership, who demonstrate, who can encourage and help younger girls around the world to step up to the plate and be leaders.
Well, and as a woman, I want to say this. It
Hmm.
is never too late,
Absolutely, absolutely,
right? It is never
absolutely.
too late to follow your
Hmm.
dreams,
Yeah,
right?
because these men have goofed the world up a lot. I mean,
Okay, that's a whole different show, Jim. We don't have time for that.
you mean this is not confession hour about us guys? No, but
But
really, I mean, it's really amazing. I'd like to say this, that there is a 90-10%, 90%, 10% rule that applies to all men. And that if a man's got an idea to try something, do something, whatever, and if he doesn't listen to the wise advice of the lady in his life, there's a 90% chance he's going to go out on his own and bolo it right out of the gate. That's just the way the world turns. I mean, guys, because ladies have that unique ability to have a grassroots, their feet on the ground. Because I've been in meetings before, and I know we're getting very close on time. I'm going to wrap this up in about 15 seconds. Um, Men will sit there and they'll dream, and they take off mentally. Women are kind of like, okay, how does the money get generated here?
right.
Where does the money
Let's
come
get
from?
down to the brass tactics of
Let's
it.
get down to reality here, and that's
I'm
what
a
I
little
like.
known for that, Jim.
Oh yeah, yeah. But see, that's the importance. That's that good balance you need.
Yep,
And ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time today,
we
aren't we,
are.
Donna?
We have to
Mhm.
run.
Yes. Thank you again from the bottom of our heart for tuning in and sharing our show with others. And be sure and love yourself first, then you can love others. As Donna like to say, be sure and give yourself.
Grace.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow. Women and